This podcast is presented by Win City Sports.
What up? Welcome back to Cedric's Comeback Corner number 30. I am your host, Cedric Ben. Today, I'll be going over UFC 247, John Bones Jones versus Dominic Reyes. Of course, when it comes to MMA, I'm only speaking about the boxing part of it. I'm gonna stick to my lane and comment on that stuff. So let's get right into it. Well, first, I'm going to give a brief summary of my breakdown of the fight and why I believe each fighter did what they were doing and how they were successful or unsuccessful. And then we'll get into specific details on how, each fighter could, what I believe each fighter can do moving on to their next match. Starting with the results, the judges gave a unanimous decision to John Jones. There's a lot of people that are mad about that. A lot of people believe Dominic Reyes clearly won that match. A lot of people also believe that it could have went either way. So that was the big controversy. I think, the big thing most people weren't expecting. I never seen this guy before, but even in the MMA world, I don't believe most people believed that he would do this good. A lot of people talk a good game. A lot of people, when it comes to their press conference, they say they're confident. They say they've been working on things. But, when they get under them bright lights and it really counts for real, most people perform differently. But Dominic Reyes did not. He came to fight. I definitely see how he was prepared. He was doing something that I like to coach to my boxers called the 2-second rule, not standing in front of your opponent for more than 2 seconds. I'll get more into detail about that in a minute. But other things, the lateral movement, side to side, offense and defense, mixing it up. He wasn't doing the same thing and being predictable. Talking about Dominic Reyes, through a jab, a 1-2, random straight cross to the body, random kicks, punching from different angles, up jabs. Yeah, he really did his homework and was really prepared for this fight. Now, speaking of John Jones, here's the thing. When you're great for that long, when you're great for that many years, you're dominant for that long, people have that much more time to study you. Your future opponents and their coaches design their training programs based on how to beat specifically you. You know what I'm saying? These people go to bed dreaming about beating you. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because John Jones, over the years of his dominating career, he's been able to get away with a few things that his opponents have not been able to capitalize on. But as I said before, the more time people have to study you, eventually somebody's going to be able to pass that test or at least come close to it. And Dominic Reyes was very close to it. I wouldn't say he exposed John Jones. I definitely wouldn't say that. It's just a few things that I said John Jones has been able to get away with that Reyes took advantage of. And I'll give the breakdown in detail right now. The first thing was specifically the footwork. And John Jones, he's very flat-footed, and I can't say that in a negative way. Again, guy's considered the greatest of all time, dominant from his first fight in the UFC up until now. So it's okay with him being flat-footed, and it's an important skill to have for various reasons. But the thing is, when you're flat-footed, it's harder to cut your opponent off in the ring or in the cage, I should say. So Dominic Reyes was able to take advantage of this by using what I like to call the 2-second rule. You never want to stand in front of your opponent for more than 2 seconds. Now, obviously, you're not going to stand there and count 1, 2. So just the mental clock in your head. And the easiest way to remember that, if you're just drilling it, is or in a real fight situation, which we're talking about right now, what Dominic Reyes was doing is whatever hand you finish with, just move to that side. You don't necessarily have to do that with every single punch, but ideally that's just the easiest way to remember not to stand in the same spot. 2-second rule. So with the random lateral movement, and then stop to plant your feet to commit to a punch or a quick combination, and then back to the lateral movement. I'm sure other coaches have had game plans to beat John Jones, but this was one of the first ones. My bad. I know Gustafsson. I apologize for mispronouncing his name, but you know what I'm talking about. Gustafsson and the last guy with the hurt leg, the Brazilian guy, he did good against him too. Both guys, with that lateral movement. And I actually have on my YouTube page, speaking of the 2-second rule, if you go to the YouTube page and look under the playlist Boxing Education and scroll down, I have a quick, just 1-minute video on the 2-second rule, something that you can use to improve your performance in the ring or the cage. So the second thing that John Jones has gotten away with is the thing he likes to, when he's standing in front of you just for a few seconds, he'll do this thing where he extends his arm out in front of you, and he'll even he doesn't extend his arm, but he has his fingers spread out too. And he uses this more as a defensive move to deflect anything that you throw at him that's gonna, come through the arms first, or if you just try to charge at him, he'll just, use his hands in that reach to slow you down. And that's the other thing too, John Jones's reach. This guy, him and Dominic Reyes, they were the same height, but John Jones had a 7-inch reach advantage, 7 inches. That's a very big. So that's one of the reasons why he's able he has been able to get away with that thing where he just stands there and sticks his arm out and just kind of uses that for depth perception. The same way how boxers use that educated jab just to find that distance and range. That's what Jones does, not with jabbing, just sticking his arm out there. Dominic Reyes was able to take advantage of that by punching from different angles, and he did it more than once. Specifically, he did a lot of up jabs. You know what I'm saying? Where you instead of having that lead hand way up in front of your chin, drop it a little bit and then pop from a 45-degree angle outside of the line of vision of your opponent. And he landed that a few times when John Jones had that arm sticking out there. Yeah, man. So much respect to Dominic Reyes, man. He really did his homework. The other thing that Dominic Reyes did that I like to preach to my boxers, something called the landing. It's not a specific name for it, but 4 different ways of landing your cross hand. So if you're orthodox, standing with your left foot forward, throwing that right hand, or if you're southpaw with your right foot forward, that left hand. 4 different ways to land it. And I also made a quick video of this that you could check on the YouTube page under Boxing Education, titled 4 Different Ways to Land a Cross. It's kind of hard for me to explain, so I'll do my best to do it here, but make sure you check that video out on YouTube. I just did it tonight, so it'll be out by the time this podcast is out. Basically, the first 2, the right down the middle, straight 1-2, right down the middle. The person's hands are a little bit wider. If the person's hands are a little bit closer, both hands are right in front of the chin. Still throw that jab and come with that straight cross right to the side of the chin. Not a big hook, not a big leaping hook to the side, but when you first throw it, the jab, make that straight cross, make it look like it's coming straight, and just change the angle to come right out to the outside of the glove. And then the last 2, the overhand right, and then stepping in with that uppercut. And so all 4 of those, the 1-2 to the side, the jab overhand right, and then the jab uppercut. Dominic Reyes landed each of those punches multiple times throughout the fight. Now, they weren't necessarily hard punches. Oh, my bad. Let me take that back. Yes, they were. Some of them were hard punches, and I got to give credit to John Jones's chin. I don't really hear people talk about that, but I've seen him. He's taken some good shots over the years, and I've never seen him like wobbly or anything like that. He might have been hurt once or twice, but not, nothing significant. There was one, Dominic Reyes caught him with a nice uppercut on the inside in that 3rd or 4th round, and John Jones just took it and still kept coming forward. You couldn't really see it because it was fast during the fight, but it was one of the, in between the rounds when they show the replay, and he caught him. They were in the middle of the clinch, and Reyes caught him with a nice uppercut. And that was his power uppercut, too, because Reyes is a southpaw. And John Jones took it and kept coming forward. Anyways, Dominic Reyes landed those 4 different ways of landing that cross. Dominic Reyes definitely did that. He definitely did that. And then the last 2 rounds, they call it the championship rounds in boxing. The last 2 rounds, the 11th and 12th, in MMA, the 4th and the 5th. And it just seemed like Dominic Reyes just was slowly breaking down. The cardio just could not keep up. It just could not keep up. A lot of people believe he did enough in the first 3 rounds to that he could have, even though he lost the last 2, he still should have won. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. Sometimes you really got to take it from the champ and make it so obvious that they can't deny you. I remember hearing this one coach complaining about going to somebody else's hometown one time, and what he said was, "Man, I'm not going to fight him in their hometown. You got to kill him just to get a split decision. You got to murder him just to get a split decision." And that's the way it seems sometimes. Sometimes with these decisions. Again, it could have went either way. Even Daniel Cormier, who him and John Jones hate each other, even Daniel Cormier said it could have went either way. So I don't know how they score the takedowns and all that stuff. But it is what it is. So there you have it, John Jones, another victory. A few things, John Jones, he's talking about moving up to heavyweight, but a few things that I would really hope that he's going to work on is getting an educated jab. That's one of the most common things you guys hear me talk about on this show. My boy Adam Troopers, 2-time Olympian, ranked eighth number in the world as a pro a few years ago, says you want to start the conversation with the jab. Start the conversation with the jab. That'll make your life easier. So anyways, John Jones, just get a more educated jab. Use that 7-inch reach advantage that you have. A lot of people think just because you're tall and have long arms that you automatically have a reach advantage, but it's only a reach advantage if you know how to use it. John Jones knows how to use it as far as his depth perception to know where you are. And as soon as you come forward, you're going to catch his hands before you can get to him, because he knows how to use his reach when it comes to sticking it out there. But if he can use a more educated jab reach, that would make his life a whole lot easier, especially if he's thinking about moving up to heavyweight and really fighting them big boys up there. The other thing I would hope John Jones works on is just using other types of footwork. The guy he's a great athlete. Both of his brothers play in the NFL, so he has athletic genes in him. So I don't believe it's a case where he's flat-footed and he doesn't have the athletic ability to stay on his toes and move around a little bit. He just chooses not to. That might be one of the reasons why his cardio was so good, because you never really see John Jones get tired, right? So that might be one of the reasons there. But again, if you're facing someone that has been studying you, you got to be able to adapt. The great ones, one of the great ones in another sport, Michael Jordan always said, one of the hardest things, the only thing that's harder than making it to the top is staying there. Right? Because everyone's gunning for you. Everyone is in the gym. So John Jones has been the champ for 9 years? Dominic Reyes only started MMA 7 years ago. So just coming in, his first day in the gym, John Jones was already on his mind as the number one goal from his first day. So this guy's been thinking about John Jones for 7 years, every day. Meanwhile, John Jones probably only heard this guy about probably a couple months ago, right? So the great ones, and so the next couple of fights we're gonna really see John Jones's if his heart is really into it, because if it's not, this is not a forgiving sport. This is not a forgiving sport. This is not like other sports where you can you can afford to slack off and be a little bit out of shape, but your skill level is still good enough that you'll still be somewhat productive. Not in fighting, man. Boxing and MMA, you can't afford to be slipping, man. You cannot afford to be slipping. So I really hope John Jones is going to improve them two things, because these lions are coming after you. I'm getting a little bit older, and these young lions are not getting any they're coming. They're coming hard. So you got to be ready, champ. You got to be ready. Much respect to Dominic Reyes and his coaches. like I said before, I'm sure other coaches out there have come up with a good game plan to give to their fighter to beat John Jones. But whatever they said to him whatever they did with him physically, and whatever they said to him mentally to help him stay focused, to actually follow through with the game plan, that was great, man. Much respect to that team. This guy's only been fighting for 7 years, and he put up that type of performance against the greatest of all time. That's nothing but respect for that, man. And I'm not sure how old he is, but yeah, man, he's looking good. He's looking good. That was my first time seeing him fight. But if he's putting up that type of performance against John Jones, he definitely has a bright future. So John Jones, the next couple of years, the next couple of fights are really going to be a test for him. We're going to see, does he still have that hunger? Is he eventually going to get ate up by one of these young lions? Or is he going to be able to be like Mayweather and stay focused right up until the day he walks out the door? We will see. We will see. Time will tell. All right, there you have it. Thank you for listening. Cedric's Combat Corner. Hit me up on any social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that, at Cedric Sports. Any questions, comments, or concerns, hit me up. Thank you very much for listening. Greatly appreciated. Shout out, of course, to Win City Sports.